My name is Julian Dierkes. I'm an associate professor and the Keidanren chair in Japanese research here at the School of Public Policy and Global Affairs at UBC. Geographically, I focus on Japan and Mongolia, so firmly focused on Asia and have been for a long, long time. I grew up in Berlin, and it happened to be that my high school was next to what was then the abandoned Japanese embassy, because obviously Japan had an embassy in East Berlin and in Bonn, but no longer in West Berlin. And so in the mid-'80s, the Japanese Foreign Ministry approached my school and said, "Why don't you teach Japanese? Because we're building a Japanese-German cultural center next door." And my school decided to, and I was one of the first group to take Japanese and just got very interested. Then spent my third year in university in Japan and subsequently lived in Tokyo for longer. So Mongolia is back to the 80s, living in West Berlin. When we went into East Berlin, we had to exchange currency, but there was really not very much to buy in East Berlin. Books was one of the things we did buy, and at some point I picked up a book by Galsan Chinak, a Tuvan Mongolian author that was writing in German, and completely loved it. And so I'd always had this sort of Mongolia interest in the back of my mind, and then had a chance to travel there in 2005 and said, "Oh, this is more than a little voice in my mind, I want to find out more here." Japan has been an interesting case over now 70 years of post-war history because its party system has taken on a very particular shape. The one I'm looking much more closely at is Mongolia. That's a 30-year history of democratization. Is democracy sort of assembling different freedoms for people, or is it a way to express a common will? I'm more interested in the latter, and that directs me more towards political culture rather than structural and legislative issues. At this point, I've been doing this for about 15 years, and so I have a lot of contacts in Mongolia that I can visit when I'm there and have conversations with. But then I also engage in development activities, projects and the like. And not only are they a chance for me to apply what I learn, but I learn a ton because there's stakeholders involved typically that either we interact with directly or we run workshops for or we interview. And that's a great source of data because it helps me keep sort of up to date on how things are changing very quickly in a country like Mongolia. But it's also an access to people that it would be very difficult to meet otherwise. For me, the different pieces of our job as faculty, the teaching, the research, but also the service, our role here at the university, need to be fully integrated. I like them to speak to each other, and I don't take particularly more joy from one of the others. There are challenges sometimes, and so maybe one piece is actually more joyful for a moment, but they do inform each other. And for me to take joy in that job, I want them to inform each other. And so the students speak to my professional practice, get involved in my research, learn about my research, that changes my practice. It fits together.